Hi, good morning, my daisies. Hi, good morning. So, I've been thinking about hopelessness. Let's have a chit chat about hopelessness, right? Just the state of being hopeless, having no hope, seeing no light at the end of the tunnel, just completely darkness, right? I was just thinking about how hopelessness is just so expensive. The price to pay for hopelessness is expensive. I was thinking about it in terms of work, in terms of relationships, and I do believe that, being in a state of hopelessness for a long period of time can ruin your relationships with other people. It can ruin your job, your career. What do I mean by that? Let's start with the relationships. For me personally, the reason why I always try so hard to avoid being depressed and hopeless for a long period of time, I'm not saying I'm never sad. I don't, have moments where I'm a bit depressed and all of that. I do have those moments, but I always try to avoid staying in that type of place for a long period of time, especially for someone like me whose mind is constantly just spinning. I always have so much going on inside my head that if I pair that with negative thoughts, with a pattern of negative thoughts, it's just going to end up being a loop that never ends, a loop of negative thoughts that never ends, which leads to me unable to sleep, and it's just a whole lot of problems. It opens a can of worms that I just can't contain. It just opens a door that I'll never be able to deal with. I'm speaking about this from experience. I think I've mentioned this in passing before. I'll talk about it next time. But in 2019, I had a very scary mental breakdown, and me constantly having something on my mind and negative thoughts was part of that, contributed to that, and I was unable to sleep because I felt like my mind was always running 24/7. Like it was never quiet up there, and I couldn't sleep without some sort of noise, something to distract myself from my own thoughts. So I was just mentioning that and passing. So back to hopelessness being expensive when it comes to, relationships and it ruining your relationships. For me, when I am hopeless, I am not putting any effort when it comes to talk. I'm not talking to anybody. I am not leaving the house, okay? I am not talking to you. I am not leaving the house. I am just gonna isolate myself inside the house. I'm not doing anything. That means if we have a relationship and I'm not even telling you what's wrong, I'm not responding to you, I'm not answering your calls, that is gonna put a strain in a relationship. That is obviously gonna put a strain in a relationship. At least if I could tell you, listen, I'm going through it right now, give me some time, that would be so much better. I do believe that people appreciate communication. If you are going through something, your friends would like to know. When you are going through something and you just disappear and people try to contact you, you don't contact them, you don't respond, you don't answer their calls, you're just completely ignoring them, and they see that this person is ignoring me. That is obviously gonna affect that relationship. But there's a difference between you saying give me some space, I'll talk to you guys, and just completely pushing away people. I think there's a difference between those two. There's a very thin line, but there's a difference between those two. Giving you some time to call up, giving you some space, it's something that comes with communication in a healthy way, not you just isolating yourself. Because one thing that I know for sure, when you are in that state of hopelessness or when you are just depressed and sad, when you isolate yourself, it becomes worse. It becomes worse if you isolate yourself with no plan whatsoever. It's not you cooling off and taking time off. It's just you just completely isolating yourself. It's just you and your negative thoughts alone. Just you and your negative thoughts alone. It's not you saying, I'm overwhelmed because of all this constant communication. I'm overwhelmed because of all these apps. So I'm just taking a break. When you isolate yourself and just you and your negative thoughts, that's dangerous. Hopelessness will make you miss opportunities, will make you miss job opportunities, will make you miss move moves that you could have made when it comes to your career and all of that. Like, imagine I'm in a state of hopelessness and someone is like, listen, girl, send me your CV, send me your portfolio, send me your work so that I can share it with this person. I'm telling you, when you are in a state of hopelessness, you're just like, what's the use? What's the use? I have sent you these things before and nothing has ever happened. What's the use? Is it going to be different this time? Is it going to be different this time? I doubt it's going to be different this time. You end up not sending those things. You end up not, giving people what they require in order to, to link you with other people in order to present opportunities to you. And you end up also being unreliable. If I'm in that state, like I said, I don't leave the house. I don't want to do anything. But now you are calling me, asking me to do something. And it's something that I've done before and I've never seen results. It's just like, and if you are hopeless, you're not going to do anything. You're not even thinking this time could be different. That thought doesn't even cross your mind that this time could be different. So there you are. You just missed an opportunity because of hopelessness. There you are, hopeless. Maybe it would have worked this time. It probably would have worked this time. You don't know because you never tried. I'm just scared of being in a state of hopelessness because I've seen what it does. I have seen what it does. So many missed opportunities, so many strained relationships because of that. So I always try my best not to end up in that situation. And I do understand that people who have depression, and I understand that times when PMDD is kicking you, been there, done that. I understand where your hormones are constantly influencing you and your mood swings and all of that. I am not talking about that. I am not talking about situations where you have hormones in play. I just mean where you reach a point where life has kicked you so much where just so much has been going on to a point where you become hopeless. You're not seeing any light at the end of the tunnel. I have times where I'm sad and I will experience sadness because I'm scared if I just ignore sadness and just like sweep it under the rug, it's just going to pile up and I'll end up in a state of hopelessness to a point where it's very hard. It feels like I'm busy digging a hole that will be very hard to come out of. I have been there where I ignored my feelings of disappointment and sadness and they ended up piling sadness, disappointment, just completely admitting that I am sad, I am angry, I am disappointed that things didn't go the way that I wanted them to go. I swept that under the rug, and when the time came, and when all of this blew up in my face, I had a mental breakdown that was so scary that I was scared. The people around me were scared. I think with suicide, I think with with self-harm going around and all of that, in our society, when you have a mental breakdown like that, of course, your family, the people around you are gonna be scared. They're gonna be alert and thinking about all of that. With young people taking their own lives, it's gonna be alarming when you see someone who has never. People have never seen me cry. Now you see me having a mental breakdown from no crying to a mental breakdown. One extreme to the other. It becomes scary for everybody involved, including me. I was scared of my own emotion because I was just thinking, why am I so sad? I couldn't even pinpoint, I couldn't even tell you why I was sad. Because it wasn't because of a single thing. It was because of all those things that just were stocked up together: sadness, disappointment, anger, hopelessness. There's no hope. And then, boom, a mental breakdown. The point that I was trying to make with this is just that hopelessness is expensive. It costs you a lot of things. Take steps, take measures, do things that would prevent you from, reaching that point where you are so hopeless. that you end up in a very dark hole that will scar you and everyone around you by the time you are out of that hole. And for me personally, because I'm a Christian, this will always, come up. Because I'm a Christian, every time when I end up in a state of hopelessness, it's always because my relationship with God has been strained. I have probably removed myself from his presence. I have probably stopped communicating with him. I've stopped praying. I've stopped reading the word. It's always because my relationship with God has been distant. It's always because I have been distancing myself. And what I've noticed that back then, when I did, it was because of all those feelings, anger, disappointment, a lot, and all of that. And I wasn't honest enough with God to come and I wasn't honest. I didn't want to admit it. I didn't want to come to God and tell him that I was angry, that I was disappointed. So because I'm not going to curse and insult God, I think what I did was just be silent. And the devil loves a silent Christian. And the devil loves a silent Christian. That is when he will come and start whispering to you and start whispering. And that is when the loop of negative thoughts will come. So for me as a Christian, hopelessness and heaviness and depression, they always become heavier and intense when I have distanced myself from God. So if you know what your solution is, my solution is God. I don't know what your solution is. My solution is God. And also my hope is in God. My trust is in him. My confidence is in him. So for me to avoid all of that, it's just for me to focus on God. And that's it. And that's it.
This one is so small, it can only fit your secrets. Like this. And that's it.
Oh, I want to hear in the comment section below. What has hopelessness cost you? What has hopelessness cost you? Tell me about a time where you just fell into this hole of hopelessness, and by the time you you dragged yourself out of that hole, when you lifted your head up, you found that you have lost so many things. What have you lost because of hopelessness? Let's talk about it. Anyway, thank you for watching. Subscribe, like, and comment. I really love to engage with you guys in the comment section. I've said it before. Thank you for watching, Daisies. Bye.